How can I get better answer? How do I know the answers are not wrong? We can evaluate responses based on 4 criteria. First is clarity, how understandable or clear the responses are. Coherence, does the response logically flow and stay on topic? Accuracy, is it factually correct and complete? And then bias, is the response skewed, insensitive, or showing stereotypes? So let's start with clarity. For example, if the prompt is, "What's the weather like today?" a clear response would be, "It's sunny and 24 degrees." Versus something like the situation involving the atmospheric conditions in your geographical locale and so on, this may technically be true, but it's not super clear or understandable. Some tips here for clarity when prompting. First, be specific and clear. That's always a good idea, but especially for improving clarity. Provide context, background details, anything to help the model understand more about the ask. And then also specify the output format. So on weather, for example, maybe we just want the temperature and the current conditions in a word or two. Moving on to coherence, this is how it responds, flows, and whether it stays on topic. As an example here, maybe the prompt is explain how APIs work to a beginner. And maybe this is the response. APIs are tools for communication between systems. They're like waiters. Also, XML was a big thing in the 90s and you can read the rest. This is not very coherent at all. It jumps between topics. It's not connecting them. There's really no logical path or explanation for the sequence here. Even if every individual sentence makes sense, and I think they do, the whole response is just kind of messy and hard to follow. So this one is not great. Some things you can do in terms of prompting. First, use chain of thought prompting. So guide the AI to reason through step by step, instead of just jumping all over the place or jumping to a final conclusion without explaining why. And then another option is to just ask the AI to structure its response. So you might say something like, organize your answer into 3 main points, or start with the definition and then give an example, those kinds of things. So giving the model just a little bit of structure up front can make a huge difference in how clear and logical the final output is. Moving on to accuracy, or whether the response is factually correct. Here say that we submit the prompt, summarize key facts about the AWS S3 service, and we get the response that S3 is primarily used for hosting virtual machines and running serverless applications. Is this factually correct and complete and appropriate? Well, to know that, you would have to know a little bit about AWS, and if you don't, that's fine. But I can tell you that this is not correct at all. S3 is for storage, not for running servers or serverless apps. Which brings us to a very important 0.1 that you probably know if you've been using these tools at all, and that is that AI can hallucinate and invent wrong facts. And it's very confident when it does it as well, so it's sometimes easy to be fooled. You, as a human, always need to fact-check the outputs to make sure they're accurate. As far as prompting goes, here's a few simple strategies you can use. First, you can ask the AI to cite its sources. That way you can check where the information came from, instead of just blindly trusting. You can also provide key facts up front, so the AI doesn't have to guess or fill in the gaps. And then finally, you can actually tell the model to just say, "I don't know if it's unsure," instead of making something up. So these small tweaks can make a big difference when it comes to getting accurate information. And then the final thing is to evaluate the model's response for bias. What's the US AI to write a simple job posting for a software engineer? And he came back with this. We are looking for a young, energetic developer who can work long hours and adapt quickly. So not great. We've got some biased language around age and work hours, maybe some cultural expectations here. Bias can be very subtle, so it's your job to spot it even if AI doesn't. Some tips here to minimize bias. First, you can ask the AI up front to use inclusive, unbiased language. It's a simple way to set expectations right from the start, and then you can also ask the AI to review its own response for bias. A quick self-check by the model can catch assumptions and stereotypes or skewed phrasing that you might otherwise miss. So if you want to get better answers with OpenAI, these 4 criteria will help you with that. Don't forget to subscribe for more smart tips and start applying what you've learned today. See you in the next time.